Hello, and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. Well, I gotta tell you, I didn't know how to start this show. Do I start the show pissed off? Do I start the show mad? Sad? I am heartbroken today. I was pissed after the Washington game, the Arizona game, and the New England game. Now I'm heartbroken. That loss was Washington times 2 all over again. And it is heartbreaking. I mean, my heart sunk. The Bears had that game. We won that game. We beat them hands down. And it came down to that stupid fucking field goal that was blocked. Of all the things we had to worry about was not getting a field goal. That's the last thing on any Bears mind, right? Fans' mind yesterday, because Santos is just awesome. And, but it was blocked, people. It was freaking blocked. I don't even know what to say. I mean, I do, and we're going to get into it. But you know what? I got to say, yeah, Santos missed that kick, but it was just, I don't know. So I'm going to get into a few things real quick. We're going to go over the game, some stats, and then how I really feel. But I got to do a few shout outs first. I want to thank Greg Braggs again for all he did for me. He discovered me last week, my show. I've been on the air 5 years and he discovered me. Thank you, Greg. And he more than doubled my subscribers, and I thank you all. I mean, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, it just, I walked around for days with this big smile on my face like I was somebody big. Whoa, look at me. I went from 385 subscribers that I've had for the last couple of years to, I think my latest was 680, I think. And so I can't thank you enough. I was just blown away. So Greg, thank you so much. You're awesome. I did tell people, if you want to, shoot me a message. Tell me what state you're watching from, unless it's Illinois, which I get most of you are. But I had Canada. So hello, Canada. Welcome to the show. They're a new state. I got a bunch of states. I have about, I don't know, maybe about 12 to 14 different states in the United States that are watching me, and 2 out of the country. 2 people in Scotland and 1 in England watching me. So thank you all very, very much. So I got a couple texts yesterday from family and friends after the game, knowing, what a huge fan I am. And one of my relatives, he is a nephew on my husband's side of the family, Simon. Thank you. Sometimes Simon watches me. He's a Green Bay fan, unfortunately, for us. But he's still a great guy. And he sent me this text after that game was over. And to me, he's telling me we should have won that game. And this is what he said, and he nails it. He said, the Chicago Bears don't deserve your loyalty. Does that say it all? And and my heart was sunken so low at this point. I was just so devastated yesterday. So devastated with that missed kick and opportunities that we might have had in that game. And he's right. 49 years I've been doing this, and I have seen everything. But you know what? Now I'm seeing, it's just breaking my heart. I mean, I can't even imagine how the Bears players feel. You know how bad we feel? Well, this is their job, and this is this is what they fight for. This is what they go out there every day to do, and they came up literally that short. Remember I said on Friday I would have taken a win if the Bears won 1 point. If it was flipped 20-19, I would have been happy even if they won by 1 point. They lost by 1 point. Oh my God, what was I doing? Did I jinx them? But you know what? Simon, you're right. The Bears don't deserve our loyalty because the owners and management and head coaching decisions have cost so many games last year, and it's to the point where and I'm not a person like this, but I am starting to feel this for years and years and years. I've been hearing they got to sell the team. They got to sell the team. We're never going to win again. And you know what? I'm just one of those loyal, no matter what. I block that out and say, we will. We won't. Another great text I got, and was from my sister. And this particular thing, my sister and I've had this private little joke. I'm not going to go into why we have it, but we have said it many times in our lives. And when she texted this to me, she nailed it. So she said to me, the McCaskies/Hallises, the owners basically, have sold their souls to the devil. She said they sold their souls to the devil somewhere along the line, and now the payment has come due. Pretty good saying, isn't it? Sure seems like it to me. I don't know. Again, speechless after that game yesterday. And again, the new people who are watching me, I'm not speechless, ever. That's why I started this show 5 years ago during COVID, because I was bored. I live alone. I'm a widow. I live alone. My son is a few miles away, but at first we couldn't go anywhere. So, my friends and family, well, you love to talk and you love the Bears. So I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. So I didn't even know what I was doing 5 years ago, but I started this show. And it has grown. But I don't even know really what to say today. I know a lot of people think I'm going to come on and be screaming and yelling and this and that. But no, I really don't there's going to be some, but it's just so devastating what happened. I know it's a football game, so I'm getting a little over dramatic, but the Bears should have won. And I'm going to show you why, and it's going to piss you off. It's really going to piss you off, okay? So let's get into a few stats, and then we're going to talk some more. So my threes. If you're new to the show, I do this all the time. I do what I call my threes: time of possession, turnovers, and penalties. I do them before the game. I talk about it and say, if we win these, if you win at least 2 out of 3, or you win them, you're in the game, or you're going to win the game. And this proves my point. And but one of these stats really got under my skin. It's a good thing, but yet it proves that we're still lacking in so many areas on offense. So my threes are time of possession, turnovers, and penalties. The time of possession, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. In the beginning of the year, the Bears were winning it. It was always close. There has never been this much of a distance this season between the Bears and another team in time possession until yesterday. The Bears had the ball 36 minutes, 0.21 seconds to Green Bay's 23.39 seconds. Yeah, you heard me. All that time, and what were they doing? Only scoring 19 points. You've got to score. If you're holding the ball 36 minutes out of a 60-minute game, 19 points, you got to come up with more points. Even though there was some good. There is some good, but I'm just saying that just blew me away. It's good because that kept our defense off the field, which was one thing they desperately needed going into this game, because prior to that, the last 3 games, they were on the field way more than our offense was. And that's what kept the Bears defense, because we're still banged up, remember. We're missing some people out there. And it just shows. Anyways, turnovers, the Bears had 1 turnover. They had an interception by number 32, Smith. And the biggest bugaboo that I have is penalties. I say you should have 5 or less. You shouldn't have any, but that's just not going to happen in the NFL. But 5 or less penalties. The Bears had 7 to Green Bay's 3. Oh, and I forgot to say, Green Bay, they did not get any turnovers. We didn't turn over the ball, which is a good thing. But let's talk about, I'm just going to show you a few examples of penalties. So in the first quarter, the Bears' second possession, they did go down and score. I will mention they went down on the first possession and scored a field goal. And I think that's the first time, that could be the first time all year they did that. I'm not sure, I didn't look, but That was a good thing. But in the second possession, they come out 1st and 10. The coach sends in the play. Boom, penalty. It's 1st and 15. Then we got a positive play, and boom, it's 2nd and 13 because we got another penalty. And then right after that, Cade gets sacked on the 3rd down punt. See what those 2 penalties did? They pushed you backwards. As I say, when the coach sends in a play, it's for 1st and 10. Then it's for 1st and hopefully or 2nd and 3, it's not supposed to be 1st and 15 and then 2nd and 13. Then you're going backwards, and the coach is like, oh God, now I got to find a play to get us out of this 2nd and 13, and then he gets sacked. Boom, you kick the ball. Then, right after that, the Bears, when they punted the ball, the special teams got a penalty, which gave Green Bay even better field position. I'm just saying, you see what's going on here? There was another time where the Bears did it too, where the Bears defense had Green Bay, and they were 4th and 2, and they got a penalty, and they gave them 1st down. But then something good happened right after that, so I got to mention it. Then we got the interception by number 32, Smith, so that was a good thing. But I just want to show you, obviously that penalty didn't hurt them in the long run, but it could have, because they could have stopped. They didn't stop them. They just gave them a free 1st down. You can't do that in the NFL playing good teams. Then in the 3rd quarter, the defense gave Green Bay a really good start. They came out 1st and 10, boom, penalty right off the bat, 1st and 5. Of course they're going to keep driving, and they ended up scoring on that. I'm not saying that had they not got that penalty, but did you see how this is just, they're helping the other team or they're hurting themselves? And then there was another one where the Bears had 4th and 2, and they went for it, and they got it. They did that 3 times, and they went for it on 4th down, and they got all 3 first downs. Very impressive. But so we were 4th and 2, and we get a 1st down. Then it's 1st and 10, penalty. Now it's 1st and 20. The only good thing about this was the Bears did manage to work their way back, and we ended up getting a touchdown by number 4, Swift. Great run, which we're going to talk about later. But yeah, the penalties didn't kill us as bad as they've had in the past, but they're still destructive. You've got to go forward, not backwards on offense, and you've got to go backwards, not forwards on defense, because that's what penalties do. Penalties are bad, and the Bears aren't good enough to overcome them. So stop it. But they are getting better. Okay. So here's a couple. I'm going to do the total stats. So this is what's going to make you mad. It really is. Now, you remember I told you Green Bay coming into this game were in the top 3 in passing, rushing, points scored. And then they were 11th out of 32 teams for points allowed. We kept them to 212 total yards passing for Green Bay, which is good. Excuse me. All right, see, I'm getting ahead of myself. Pickled! I had to start drinking after that game. I mean, no wonder I drink. Good God! All right, let's start over again. Okay, so the Bears had 212 yards passing. Not great, but they still did a good job. Green Bay had 260 yards passing. That was where they got us the most, but they were averaging a lot more, I looked in their games, than this. So I felt we did pretty damn good. And what I really liked was our rush game got going. We averaged 179 yards. We got 179 yards in that game to 106 rushing yards for Green Bay. And they're in the top. Their running back is really, really good. And our defense has a problem with that. So only giving up 106 yards was a win. It really was. This pissed me off. We had 391 total yards plays. They had 366. So again, we're on the winning end. These numbers say win, these last 2 things I told you. Passing, not so much, but rushing and total yards. And then they really improved this week. They were 9 of 16 on third down, much better than last week. During New England, they were 1 for 14 on third down. So there was some major improvements here this week. That's why, you see, they should have won that game. Cabe was 23 for 31 for 231 yards. Cabe had a good game, no turnovers. He rushed for 70 yards and was sacked for only 3 times compared to 9. And we're going to talk about his rushing in a minute. Swift, 71 yards, 1 touchdown, and he had 13 yards receiving in the air. I really like that we got Johnson, number 23, our running back, in this game. I tell you, every week, Swift is he'll go out and get in and skit through people and get the yards, as we saw yesterday. He's an outside guy. He'll go. Johnson will just barrel you up the field, and he'll knock people down, and he'll keep running, and he proved it yesterday. He had 33 yards with 1 touchdown, and he had 8 yards receiving. I was so glad to see him. I want to see them mix Swift and Johnson more. That worked. Look at that. Look at that. Johnson made a huge difference yesterday, and it's something that old AOC did not do. And then in our receiving, Rome, number 15, I'm really loving this dude. He is getting open for his quarterback. He had 65 yards passing, receiving. Moore, number 2, at 62. Clement, 85. Wasn't it nice seeing him in there catching some balls? I want to see more, but he did have 42 yards. And Allen had number 13 had 41 yards. Clement has got to be used more and more and more. I hope they keep doing this because he makes a huge difference. So they did what they needed to do offensively. They did, but they just came up short. And it's a heartbreaker. There's just no doubt about it. But you look at these numbers, except for passing, we beat them in every category. We beat them in time possession. We beat them in turnovers. We beat them in rushing. We beat them overall yards. I mean, when you see that, you should see a W, not an L. A W, a win. Okay, now the defense. Let's talk about them because I don't know what they're saying in Illinois. I do not blame the defense. I think, they're playing as best they can. They weren't on the field a lot. They did give up one really bad play, but out of all of them, again, we're playing a really good team. 6-3 they were going into this game. Now they're 7-3. And I told you, in those top areas, they were in top 3 passing, rushing, scores, points scored for the team, and 11th in points allowed. That's a damn good team. We played a good team, and our offense did the right things. Our defense, they had an interception, number 32. Great. We had 1 sack, 95 Walker. I would have liked to see some more sacks, but they were getting in there. Our top tackler, again, 53 Edwards. You're doing great, man. Just keep it up. And number 31 Bard, he looked really good in that game. Number 1 Jalen Johnson looked great, and Gordon, number 6. They were all over. These guys, I watched them, and they were all over the field. They really were. They had a great game. I do think they did a very good job. Like I said, this is a good team. And the defense held the running back to 76 yards. He has been averaging over 100 yards a game. He came into the game with 762 yards. They held him to under 100 yards. And if you hold a good running team under 100 yards and you get 179 yards rushing, you should win the game. Again, should have won the game. The Bears did what they had to, and the Bears, we know, have not been great in the run. And then we lost Billings, who was really one of our run stoppers. He's gone. We have no Brisker, but they did what they needed to do. They kept the Bears' offense in that game. And at a couple points, the defense could look up and we were winning. So I think they did a good job. Now, in the third quarter, after the Bears scored a touchdown, it was 14-19. Green Bay gets a big pass to their 2-yard line, one of the bigger passes, not the big one, but and so they get down to their 2-yard line, and our defense steps up and stops them 4 times. And they went for it on 4th and 2 and didn't get it. We gave them up 0. They're down there on the 2, 3, 1-yard line, and the Bears defense held them to no points. I mean, what more can you ask of your defense? Of course, at the end of the game, fourth quarter, it was 5 minutes and change maybe. They gave up that 60-yard pass. That was just a killer. And I know I just saw just a bit, not much, that JJ was pretty upset, and I think he's blaming himself for that. Regardless, it happened. They go down, they score. It's now 20-19. They go for the 2-point conversion and didn't make it. But again, I don't believe the defense lost this game. Sure, people could say, well, they gave up that 60-yard pass. They did. But we've got some health issues, and you know what? All they did in that game, they did everything they possibly could. They held a good running team to under 100 yards. Well, no, it was 108 yards when it was all said and done. I say that. But to me, that was a hold. Great job. I'm sorry, but I do think that the defense can hold their heads up high. I don't even know. I'm blaming this loss totally on the head coach again. But so the one thing, too, about the offense is I'll tell you, Green Bay's defense is rated 12th in the league, and the Bears did what they did. And I thought that was good. Last week, they played New England, and New England's defense was around 20th or 90 in the league, 20th or 19th or 20th in the league ranked. I can't talk today. See how worked up I am? My mind's going faster than my mouth. And they were ranked like 20th defense, and look what they did to us. They creamed us. We had 9 sacks. But yesterday, we faced one of the best defenses, and our offense looked much better. And Cabe was only sacked 3 times, and we know the last 2 really hurt because it was with 3 minutes and change left, and we really needed to move down that field. Cabe, in that drive, though, did a couple times, at one point there was a penalty, right? And no, he got sacked twice. So we were in the middle of the field, basically. He got sacked twice. They put us back. And we at one point was like third down, and gosh, was it 18 or something like that? 19. He gets a really good pass. Now we're down to 4th and 2, 4th and 3. We get it. Now we're like, okay, here we go. We're going to go down here, we're going to keep running the ball, and we're going to score a touchdown. But we know that did not happen, so we're going to talk about it. He goes down, and you know, we had time left, and I'm going to talk about that under the head coach thing. But Cabe made some very, very good passes in that drive. He did overthrow people yesterday again, but much better than it had been in the 3 previous games. He did get us within field position. I thought it was over after the second sack. I'm like, game's over. And what did he do? He just came back and got his first downs. And that was impressive. I got to give him those sacks. Those 2 sacks at the end came. We only had that one in it. It happened in the beginning in the first quarter. And then that was it. But Green Bay brought everybody because they knew they had to stop the Bears. So they brought everybody, and that's how they got those sacks. You know, the offensive line couldn't have done any better. But I will tell you one thing. It sure was great having number 70 Braxton Jones back in there. Makes a huge difference. And on that third quarter, where Swift had that awesome run to get a touchdown to put us up to 19, Braxton Jones helped that because he put a beautiful block on a Green Bay defender, and Swift was off to the end zone. It was beautiful. So welcome back. Braxton Jones, you did a great job. I mean, I got to say the O-line, I've been on them all year, beating on them and beating on them and beating on them. But I got to say, in the long run, they really did hold up. Yes, the last 2 sacks, but like I said, Green Bay brought the house. So, you can't beat on the O-line this time because I think they did a damn good job considering they're banged up, we're missing guys, and we aren't that talented as it is. If we could get our offensive line healthy and they could play together week in and week out, practice day in, day out, they would be better. The thing about an offensive line is these guys have continuity, so do they work together. And if you can keep a line healthy and staying together the whole season, they know what each other's going to do. So they help each other out. Good teams out there with good offensive lines, because they're always practicing, they're always in the game together, they can just read each other and they know what to do. And we don't have a line like that. We're not good enough yet. And I'll tell you what, this line in the 80s was so damn good. Best line the Bears ever had. We haven't had a good one since then, and it's important because you can really read each other's minds and you know each other. And unfortunately, we just don't have that. So that's the problem with our line. And it's really all we can hope for on the offensive line is they get healthier and never know. But it's really hard to blame anybody about this win because they should have won. They should have won. I said on Friday going into this game that on paper, Green Bay was going to cream us because they beat us in everything. And look what happened. The Bears should have won it. The Green Bay team knew it. Green Bay fans knew it. Everybody knew it. But it didn't happen. So here's my opinion about the head coaching. And I don't know. I was so depressed and so sad, I really couldn't listen to the after shows yesterday. I heard Greg Braggs. My son sent me his tidbit that he said yesterday after the game. I did hear that. Very good, Greg. I agree 100% with you, and I'm going to mention a little bit of that too. But I couldn't listen to anything else. I was just too sad. I was defeated. I was just sitting there in my chair. That was me yesterday after that loss. So let's talk about our head coach. Well, first of all, Tom Brown, shout out to the offensive coordinator. He clearly made some good changes. He's worked with Cabe. I mean, the whole season, I don't think I've seen Cabe release that ball as fast as he did in that game yesterday. And look how much better he looked and played. I bet he felt more comfortable. Maybe I said last week he's got to block out the noise, especially as coaches, because I think that the coaches and Flus are putting in his head, don't turn the ball over, don't turn the ball over, don't turn the ball over, and they're putting too much on him. And I'm thinking they backed off a little bit, and Tom Brown really did a good job yesterday. Really, he called simpler plays, and our wide receivers were getting open. So why were they getting open now and they weren't all those other games? It's kind of obvious, isn't it? So we're glad he's gone. It lifted the team up. Unfortunately, we were again this short. So let's talk about Flus. In the fourth quarter, he throws the challenge flag on a catch. It was a long pass, and it put the Green Bay down there by their goal line, which the Bears ended up stopping him. But he did, and he challenged that catch. It was clearly a catch, Flus. Doesn't anybody in the skybox talk to you and tell you, no, don't throw the flag? So then we lose a challenge and another timeout. Although, it really don't matter with Flus because he always leaves the game with at least one timeout on the board where he could have used those timeouts. We know in Washington, he left the game. Timeouts that are be used, not left on the board, okay? So we lose. So now we're down at the end of the game with 2 timeouts left because he called a terrible challenge. And stupid ass thing. He does that shit all the time. He did it a couple weeks ago where it was clearly a good play and he called the challenge. Now, this next one, I don't know if this has been talked about at all because I said I haven't really been listening, but this was on my mind right away. And maybe I'm just, I'm old. I'm 66. I'm a little old-fashioned when it comes to certain things, and this is one of them, chasing points. I know it's the new norm in the NFL to go for it on fourth down all the time, to go for the two-point conversions, but I don't like chasing points unless you're in the fourth quarter. Unless there's just some other excuse. But the Bears go up, 14-19. Okay, so we're winning. So I know they want to make it a 7-point game, so they go for the 2-point conversion, didn't get it. Now it's 14-19. If the Bears would have scored more points, it really wouldn't have mattered, but they didn't. So now it comes to the end of the game. We have to kick a field goal to win the game. Had they not gone, and Green Bay went for a 2-point conversion when they got their touchdown to make it 19-20, and they missed it. So now we're at 19-20. Had the Bears not gone for it on the 2-point conversion, it would have been a tie game. We go to overtime. I think we would have had a chance to win that game in overtime. You don't start chasing points that early. I'm sorry, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to disagree with me out there. It's every right. You have every right to do that. But I don't agree with it. Because if you think about it, it would have been a tie game, overtime. Or who knows, maybe with that tie, we would have gotten the field goal. You don't know what happens when you're at the end of a game, you're driving and it's tied. Who knows what would have happened? Maybe different choices of plays, this and that. I didn't like it. I thought you're chasing points too early, and I knew it was going to come back to haunt us. You take the extra point, idiot. Then, this one really pissed me off. This, again, reminded me of Washington at the end of the game. Yes, we're at the end of the game after 2 sacks. There's about 40 seconds left. We're on the 40-yard line-ish. Why didn't we get another play in there? At least another play, if not 2. At least one more to get closer, to get Santos a chance to kick a closer field goal. And of course you're going to run the ball. And you give the ball to your running backs. You never know. They could hit a big one and make 20 yards or maybe go all the way for a touchdown. You don't know. You got to go for another play. Flutes, 40 seconds and a timeout in your pocket, and you just let the clock run down. Tick, 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 tick. Pissed off, pissed off, pissed off, pissed off, pissed off. You know what? Why didn't you do that? See, you're afraid. You're making decisions not to lose. That was a not to lose decision. You should have played at least one more play, if not 2. You see teams out there that do it all the time. That's what timeouts are for. For Christ's sake. Just think if we had gotten 5-6 yards closer. That would not have been a blocked field goal. Because it was farther out, so the farther out, and with the wind and this and that, kickers they tend to kick it a little bit lower so they know they can get in. It seemed low to me, but it was blocked, so you don't know. But you get 5-6 more yards, you call the timeout, you're giving your kicker a much easier kick. Boom, we win the damn game. 22-20. And this whole show would be a lot different. Not too much, because I would still be praising the Bears for the good things they did. I mean, it's one of these things where there's silver linings in this. And it wouldn't be so bad if we had played this game before the bye. And where we were doing good and we were playing and we had a close game like this. But now we're on a 4-game losing streak. The players have not, they're walking around like this. What more can we do? What more can we do? The decisions, I believe, the challenge. I'm just saying what an idiot is. But I don't like chasing points. I think we could have had a tied game, and they didn't use their time properly again at the end of the game, which is exactly what happened in Washington, and we lost that game. This was Washington times 10 worse, in my opinion. Because the Bears, Washington, people say they shouldn't have won the game. And you know what? Had they won the game, we would have been ripping on them and saying they squeaked one out. But teams do that. This one was won. The Bears came out and played so well compared to the last 3 games. And Flus doesn't know. I don't think the team knows how to win anymore. I really think the team does not know how to win. And it's sad. And he's playing not to lose. And if you start playing not to lose, guess what? You're going to lose. And everybody knows it. You can ask anybody. It's just how it is. And he needs to go. Now, I know people are saying fire him, clean house now. Which, if that happened, they would put the special teams coach in charge. But this team, I don't know. You know what? I want him gone at the end of the year, hands down. I mean, at the end of the game, which we're playing Green Bay the last game, when that game is over, I don't care what the score is, I want him fired as soon as he gets back in Illinois, because it's in Green Bay. I want Poles, Warren, whoever, to fucking fire him after that game. I don't want them to waste 5 minutes. I want him gone. He should have his house for sale right now. Bears, go put a for sale sign on his house. Give him a hint. He's got to go. We need to hire a head coach that's got good offensive experience, who can work with a young quarterback, because I believe Cabe isn't that. Now that OC is gone, I think we're going to be okay with Cabe, because I saw a lot of improvement yesterday. So we know he's got the skills. We know it. He needs the leadership. The leadership to guide him. That's what the Bears need, and they don't have. They have a man who can't make a decision. And when he does, they're bullshit and they cost games. So, I mean, yeah, firing him, you do get a bonus at the end of the year that after that you could start looking for a head coach during the playoffs if you fire him now. That's the only thing you're going to gain. Most people, I think we're not going to win another game. I don't know. If we play like this, I think we could have a chance to win another game. But let's not talk about that right now. He's got to go. And I don't know. You know what? You let him go now. I don't know what to say. My head is, I feel better than I did yesterday. I was just so down. I couldn't even enjoy the afternoon games. And there was a couple really good afternoon games. The Bills game, they beat Kansas City. Now there's no winless. There's no teams that have. Everybody's got to have lost a game. They were the only winning team. God, Lynn, I swear to God, I am just, see what's happening? My head is just so mixed up. But there was a lot of good games yesterday, and not the night game. That sucked. But, and I just couldn't get into them. I was so sad, and I love football. I love it. And yesterday, after that game, I just was like, give me another damn beer. Give me another damn beer. Give me a gummy. Help me. 49 years, and I've been doing this to myself, but I got to say, this season has gotten me, last season and this season have gotten me downer than I ever have been in the 49 years, and that's true. And I've seen a lot of bad. You know, in the 70s, we kind of went to the playoffs once or twice, started the 80s bad, then from 83 on, it was great until the early 90s-ish. We were playing pretty good, and then, it just starts to go. I will say one thing. Everybody says they've got to sell the team. They've got to sell the team. All they care about is money. And now I believe that. And everyone says they're not gonna sell the team until, God bless her, Virginia McCaskey passes away. And I don't want her to pass away, because I'm going to tell you a quick story. My show's going to go on long, but I got to tell you a quick story. Me and this man, we killed George McCaskey. Yeah, we did. So 1983, it's October 30th. The Bears are playing Detroit in Soldier Field. We had these really great seats, but because the Bears were having a shitty season, my friend got them from somebody. We were on the 50-yard line. The only time I ever sat on the 50-yard line. So I'm sitting next to a guy next to me, and my husband and my friends are on the other side, and we were talking, and we kept saying, now Dicka had just been hired, but we still weren't winning. And we were getting creamed. I think that game was like 38-7 or something like that. It was just bad. It was awful. And it's me and this guy were saying, we're never going to win until Hallis dies and things change. It's just never going to happen. He's got to die. He's got to go so he doesn't have his hand in this anymore, and the Bears are going to turn it around. Next morning, I'm in the shower getting ready for work, October 31st, Halloween. My husband's knocking on the door. Lynn! I'm like, what? And he comes in. I go, what? I go, you're never going to believe this. I'm like, what? And he goes, George Hallis died this morning. I go, what? He goes, yeah. And I go, oh my God. He goes, I think you killed him. I'm like, oh my God, me and that man. We talked about it the whole game. Oh my God. When I heard that, I could not believe it. So yeah, me and that man, whoever he is out there, we killed George Hallis. But we know what happened after that. But no, I don't want Virginia McCaskey to die because I'm telling this story. But I'm just saying. I know, I did it. But it is true. They will. I believe the Bears. I really do, because it doesn't seem like anybody in the McCaskey family wants to run the team. That is quite obvious, which is a shame. But because they've owned it. They've only been the only owners of the team is the Hallises / McCaskeys. So, but I do believe they're going to sell it after she passes, and I think they should. Sell it to somebody who wants to bring back what the Chicago Bears organization used to be: pride, good players, good character on the field, that drive to win every game, loving their fans, loving the city. We need that back, and we won't get it until we get an owner who wants to win and wants to go to the Super Bowl. You know, you do make a lot of money when you go to the Super Bowl, so I don't get why the McCaskeys don't understand it, but they don't. So it's time. It's time to get rid of Flus, and we can't say the other thing, because look what happened when I talked about George that day. Oh, and one other thing is, now that I have all these new subscribers, I got some really great Bear stories from all my 49 years. And some of my old subscribers who are still watching, you may hear them again, but I'm going to start telling them again, because I've got all these new subscribers. I might as well. Because on this show, as you see, I do stats here and there, and then I talk about how I feel, and I try to make people laugh too, because laughing is everything. You know what? It makes people happy. We got to stay positive because of this team. And I do want to make you laugh. So I got some good stories. I think I'll start on Friday. I'll have to pull them out of my story box. And but again, thank you to all the new subscribers. I really, really appreciate it. I can't even say how cool it is that people watch me. I mean, when I first started this, I would get like 10 watchers. Then sometimes it would go. The second season, then I started getting more and more. The third season. And then I had a buddy, Dan, who does a podcast. B as a boy, C as in cat, P as in Paul, BCB. And they're all capitals, and that's his show. I used to do a podcast with him 2 years ago, and he helped me get more viewers, and I appreciate it. So, and Greg Braggs, oh my God, you're awesome. So thank you. I'm sorry the show ran long. I don't normally do this. I try to keep it within 30 to 35 minutes, but what can I say? It was one of those games, right? So thanks again for watching. Okay, Bears. Now, Bears fans, we got to clear our head. You got that 24-hour rule to think about that loss. Then you got to get rid of it, and we got to think about we're playing Minnesota this week. We all know all the rest of the games we have the hardest schedule in the league. So, yeah, Minnesota's next. So, and we'll see what happens. I think they're 8-2, something like that. So, yeah, we're fucked again. So, but let's stick together. And forget about this tomorrow. You wake up, the 24-hour rule's over. Forget this game, move on. I know your heart's broken. I am too. But we got another game. And I'm not giving up yet. I'm still going to watch them. I know a lot of people are going to stop, which means I'll get less viewers, which really makes me mad, Bears. So, anyways, thank you for watching me. This old lady is digging it. And be kind. I always end my show, be kind. Love one another. Stop hate. Let's stick together. People are really good people out there. And you know what? Let's bring out the goodness in people again. We lost that somehow. And, I know, but I'm not going to say. But we have. So I just want us, when you're out and about, smile at people. You never know what kind of day they're having. And a smile is somebody that looks sad. It can really cheer you up. I know it does me. I'll talk to anybody. And I can tell when people are down, so I try to cheer them up. So that's what I hope I did today to you. I gave you the facts. I told you how I feel. And maybe I made you laugh along the way. And you know what? This face, I look identical to my dad. And on a woman's body, it's just not fair. So I guess that's why I got a sense of humor, because hello. So hopefully that made you laugh. Okay, have a good week. Move on, everybody. And as always, I'll see you Friday. We'll talk about the Minnesota game. Tell everybody to turn me on. And keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby.